Hey, friend. Hey, welcome to my Dear Frugal Life. My name is Denise, and I started my channel to document my journey of paying down my debt, growing my savings, and just learning to stick to a budget and live a more frugal life. So, thank you for stopping by. You're always welcome. So, I thought I would make my debt confession about how I managed to rack up over $200,000 in debt. So let's just get into it. So forgive me, Visa, forgive me, Discover, for I have overspent. So, how did I get here? Well, overspending, basically. That is a big part of it. Spending too much money and not saving enough. Pretty obvious, but that's the truth. I made a ton of money mistakes. In fact, I think you might be hard pressed to think of a money mistake that I haven't made. I made a lot of them. So do me a favor. In the comments, why don't you let me know what kind of money mistakes you've made. I know that sometimes it feels better that when you make a mistake or you get off track, that you're not alone. So if you've made any money mistakes, share them out. Okay, so the first one of many, many more to come was my very first checking account. Okay, so turns out that this is not free money. Um, I'm 17, just graduated high school, off to college, got a checking account with a free toaster or whatever they were giving you back in the day. Um, and I thought that you could write as many checks as you wanted because I wrote one, but there were more pieces of paper in my little checking doohickey thingy. Um, the other thing I didn't know is that the money doesn't necessarily come out instantly, right? So I thought you would go to wherever you were, some department store, in my case, I'm sure, and you write a check for the item that you wanted to buy. And that was it. Done deal. It's like handing over cash. You paid for the item, that money was gone, so you could live to spend another day. Not so much. Turns out it doesn't quite work that way. So that was definitely a young, dumb money mistake that I made. Um, my first credit card was another money mistake. Not necessarily the idea of a credit card. As a little aside, which we'll get to in future videos, I started out with the Dave Ramsey thing, the total money makeover, getting rid of your credit cards. But I am not a person who says no credit cards ever. But, that's a story for another day. So back to the JC Penney. Another money mistake. Turns out that when you buy something, okay, and return it, not the same as making a monthly payment. So I can remember the bill coming in the mail and me saying, well, you know what? I still have that thingy that I bought that still has the tags on it. So instead of making this $20 payment, I'm going to take this, $27 thing that I just bought and march myself down to customer service, return it, payment made. Again, doesn't quite work that way. I came to find that out, much later, but yeah, definitely a money mistake. Well, my first car accident, while not necessarily a money mistake per se, but it did cause me to have to stop working for a while to recover. So my accounts went overdue. The car was totaled, if I can recall, or close to it. Anyway, turns out still have to make the payments, even if the car is not drivable, if the insurance doesn't cover it. But, again, I'm not even going to get into that because that's a long story. But, the point is, payments don't go away. If you still owe money, whether it's after what your insurance covers, if you don't have insurance, or the person driving, which doesn't have insurance. But beside the point, you get what I'm saying. If you still owe money on the car after it's all said and done, you still have to pay the monthly payment. Another money mistake, bankruptcy. Yes, your girl, she did that. I went into bankruptcy, Chapter 13. So for those of you who don't know, Chapter 13 is a payment plan that the courts set up so that you pay back most or all, depending on your situation, of your debts, so that you can keep certain assets like your home or your car. At the time, I didn't have a home. I'm still on the younger side at this point. Didn't have a home, but I did have a car that I needed to keep because I had to get to the job to make the payments. Turns out it really kind of was a money mistake. I probably would have done better just handling everything on my own. Hated the car anyway, but again, neither here nor there. But bankruptcy, yeah, I did that. And so we fast forward a little bit to, I think it was 2012-ish. I had been in my apartment for 10 years, maybe a slightly more, but we'll just say 10 years. And I wanted to move out into a house. So I rented a house, changed jobs. I'm a teacher, so I, started a new school. Everything's good. And as a teacher, in case you're not aware, we start slightly before the children do, to do orientation, things of that nature. So I did that orientation the week before kids were supposed to start. It's all good. I'm on my first day of school. So the kids haven't met the kids yet. My first day of school. Get out of my car. I'm about to, walk up to the school. Somebody runs a school bus stop sign and actually hits me. The me, like my body me. So I get hit as a pedestrian trying to get to my first day of school. That was a disaster. The person who hit me didn't have insurance. My insurance, which, oh my goodness, didn't cover me because they said there's some kind of weird law that even though I was not in my car at the time, because I had just exited the vehicle, they didn't cover it. Some convoluted nonsense issue they gave me. So I had to, I guess, sue the person. The person didn't have any insurance, whatever. Anyway, I wound up in the hole because the other thing that's important to note is that at this point, I didn't have any health insurance, right? Because I just started. So this particular job, you had to wait. I don't even remember what it was, 60, 90 days, something like that, before you could get health insurance coverage, before my coverage would start. So I didn't have any. So I, was forced to use the very almost non-existent savings, because remember, I had just moved, to try and cover and stay afloat. And that didn't go too well. So, yeah, that was pretty bad. So we're into the house at this point. I think I may have been, yeah, I'm pretty sure I was back at work, at this point. But because the hole I had gotten into was so big, because I had to be out of work for my brand new job for a bit. Yeah, this is another thing your girl did. I took out a payday loan trying to save the house, which don't ever do that. I mean, I'm not going to say don't ever do it because, when it's tight, you got to do what you got to do. But in my case, it was a mistake. I was trying to save a place where I was in over my head at this point. I should have just cut bait, but I didn't. And so, yeah, made that money mistake. So at this point, I don't have any savings to speak of. My credit was like, in the 500s. Um, so it was bad. But I did manage, a little bit of ray of sunshine. I did actually manage to avoid, you know, being escorted out of the property. So what I did was at this point in this rental, I was month to month. So I didn't actually have a lease. So in a flash of brilliance, the rare flashes of brilliance that I get from, time to time. Anywho, I had the presence of mind to find an apartment before everything kind of went completely south. So I wind up, narrowly avoiding the whole eviction of it all by giving them notice because I found a place, I moved in, it was all good. So now we're in 2017-ish. So I wound up having, I'm in a different apartment. No, the same apartment. I wind up having the apartment, the pipes burst, and my apartment was flooded. I ended up moving into where my now husband, boyfriend at the time, now husband, lived. So we moved in together. So a house came available, and it was a really, really good deal. Like the house that we bought, not the best shape wise. I mean, it was really old, so it hadn't been renovated in a while. So through a family friend, we kind of found this house. And in order to save money, the mortgage broker suggested that instead of outlaying cash, I try to save as much cash as I possibly could. And he suggested that I put my purchases, as many as I can, on a credit card. Again, definitely a money mistake. If I can go back to my past self, I would probably try and find another way to do it, but it's what we needed to do to get into the house. I had some money saved, but in order to bulk up our cash reserved, so there wouldn't be a problem, that's what he suggested. So yeah, that did not help. Okay, so fast forward to now. At this point, we have the house. And as I mentioned earlier, when you buy a house, you need stuff. So, following the advice of the mortgage dude, I charged all of the items that we were going to buy anyway to my credit card. Yeah, I did that. So, here is my list of debts. Now, I know that I've seen a lot of debt confession videos where they kind of do like a slow reveal. The reason why I didn't do that in this case is because this is what my debt was at that time. So in a future video, these numbers are going to look a little bit differently. So that's why I just listed it all at once. So all of this was things that I needed to buy, because like I just said, when you buy a house, turns out you need stuff to put into said house. So QVC was like over $180. Overstock was $225. Wayfair, HSN, Walmart, Boscov's is almost $1,700. Those were furniture items. Like, for example, I know our beds, Discover, Sportsman's Guide was at 5,300 almost. A little side note about this particular card is that at the time, my credit limit was like $4,500. I don't think I ever actually went over it, but my credit utilization was like, I kid you not, like at 99%. I'm like, I'm not even making that up. And they took mercy on my soul and raised my credit limit. Not sure why, but thankful that that happened. Anyway, PNC was almost $8,700. I had to purchase a car. It was I'm sorry, not a new car, a new to me car. It was a used car, because my car died and I have to drive like across state lines, to another state to get to work. So I definitely needed a vehicle. And then the mortgage, that we talked about. And my student loans are at $124,824.19 for a whopping total of $211,479.62. Ooh, child, that's a lot of debt. It's a lot of money. $211,000. $211,479.62 to be exact. That's a lot of money. Now, I do realize that my mortgage is in that figure. So that is I'm going to have a separate kind of strategy for that, as well as the student loan, which is the majority of that money, is in that as well. And that's going to have its own strategy that we will talk about in a future video. So on that note, speaking of which, give it a like, subscribe, hit the little bell doohickey bobber so that you will get a notification when I release my next video along the way. And also throw a comment in the down low. Let me know about some of the money mistakes that you've made. Let me know about your journey, if you're on one as well. Where are you in the process? People have different amounts, but the idea is the same, trying to get a handle on things and do something different and get out of the debt spiral. So also, I have a blog that I just started at dearfrugallife.com. Give that a little check out and follow me on the gram. The DFL is on the gram. So it's at Dear Frugal Life. So, stop by there too. So thanks again for stopping by. And remember, there's always room in the budget for kindness. Adios.